Summon Dragons 2 has been out long enough to see a drastic increase in its roster. With a whole new assortment of SSS and SP dragons, it's about time we fixed up that old tier list of ours, so here's the new and updated Summon Dragons 2 tier list. We now have more than 60 dragons to cover, so I'm going to make each entry brief. If you want to elaborate more on a dragon for me, or challenge my rating in a comment, please feel free to do so. All our collective thoughts can hopefully form a solid database for new players to use. And if you yourself are new, or if you just want to help me out, make sure you downloaded the game using my special download link in the description. With all that out of the way, let's get this show on the road. Lily is one of the easiest to obtain healers, though she will likely be outclassed by any SSS rank healer you build later on, C tier. Lofi doesn't have the base defense or multipliers to support his kit, which mostly scales with defense, F tier. Basak is a viable pick for a warrior team provided your strongest DPS is a warrior in need of buffs, C tier but B tier on a warrior team. Achilles is extremely capable early game, which can snowball your account's progression. A tier for beginners, C tier by the end game. Greed is like a wall for your frontline, tanking a lot of damage with those defense buffs and a decent AoE ultimate to boot, B tier. Aranus puts so many additional units on the field that he can single-handedly double Anubis' damage, B tier but A tier when paired with Anubis. Envy doesn't hold up in any part of the game. His damage is outclassed by most, and he struggles surviving even with a defense build, C tier. Shai Sara is another underwhelming summoner. She needs fully built to shine, and she only excels single target, C tier. Freya provides both healing and damage. Her damage is based on max HP, and she can stop foes with an AoE stun, A tier. Anubis is on a whole other level of damage. He's one of the few dragons capable of dealing billions of damage, S tier by himself, but triple S tier on a summoning team. Garuda has proven himself lately to be a PvP demon. His constant flurry of AoEs and extreme lifesteal helps him to 1v5, double S tier. Psyche is a decent upgrade from Lily. She's by no means the best support, but her healing potential is very good, B tier. Bion is the legendary dragon we needed to summon 1,000 times to get, just for a mediocre bruiser. At least he boosts your damage dealers, C tier. Odin has built a small cult following over time. He's Lofi's big brother taking on the defense scaling kit but doing it much better, B tier. Despoina and Arion are great for aiding in single target boss battles like Guild Hunt but easily get caught in enemy AoEs, C tier. Pleon is very well done for a summoner tank. He can have Atlas up nearly 100% of the time and they make an awesome tag team, S tier. Loki was already a solid choice for PvP, but recent updates have made him a resilient and explosive tank, S tier. Cosmo low-key just kind of sucks, but his ultimate locks down a foe which may help you progress early on, D tier. Umbriel coin flips his goal, which is assassinating a backliner at match start. Could be good, but could be bad depending on the target, B tier. Arjuna is a bit weird with instant teleports but a slow stacking crit damage buff, meaning you would prefer her attacking while stationary, C tier. Leviathan is perfect for one thing only, knocking down foes. If your target is not knockable, he's rendered a meat shield, B tier. Luna can deal damage under the right circumstances. If you can line up your foes to get smacked with her balls, it's decent, B tier. Calypso is lacking when compared to his top tier rival attackers. His damage isn't bad per se, he just has no synergy, D tier. Wrath often starts off slow, but he can assassinate from far away with his clone while keeping himself positioned safely, C tier. Blade has absolutely no defense for an ability that puts him at so much risk. Thank God he has decent HP, C tier. Basilisk has a pretty important niche of AoE defense breaking your enemy. He can also be built full crit damage for big crits, B tier. Bennu completely ignores the enemy's defense with an area of effect ultimate. Defense ignore is just as rare as it is deadly, S tier. Proteus aids allied rogue dragons immensely with his Thorns buff. This can potentially double your damage output, A tier but S tier in a rogue team. Horus is the GOAT in terms of support. Top-notch healing, buffs, and stats, a must-have dragon, double S tier. Zeus is very mage-like, dropping his ultimate and skill now and then for big damage. His team crit buff is also nice, B tier. Argus is one of the PvP elites. His insane bursts of damage completely decimate foes one at a time, double S tier. Janus is extremely powerful. 4-digit multipliers usually means top tier damage, though some of the more gimmicky dragons can outdo him. S tier. Neptune can make the most of your attack speed gear as his kit's effectiveness increases exponentially with high attack speed. B tier. Hades has extraordinary burst potential. Once fully built, he can hail boulders all over the screen, damaging and stunning everything. S tier. Fenrir pursues his target uninhibited by stealthily approaching them completely untargetable. He can be quite persistent. A tier. Aleph helps maintain control over the match's tempo by increasing your energy gains and simultaneously decreasing the enemy's. S tier. Daniel bombards enemies with a fireball that repeatedly bounces between targets. It's fun to look at but weak at face value. D tier. Grover has some of the lowest damage in the entire game but passes for an early game tank. D tier. Elijah also has some pretty dreadful multipliers despite his decently high base attack. D tier. Jet has one of the lowest base HP in the game and is easily one-shottable even by accident. F tier. Albing has serious damage potential once he sets up. His orbs can even rival some SSS rank dragons' damage. A tier. Zelos is an upgrade from Daniel but still doesn't quite have what it takes to compete with the big dogs later on. C tier. Rinka is another example of a decent attacker early game that falls off super hard. She's decent for beginners though. C tier. Vulcan's base attack is relatively high compared to other S-rank attackers. He certainly doesn't make for a wasted slot. B tier. Bruce is a silly little salamander that wants to be a tank. He channels shell mode, raising his defense but rendering him completely immobile. D tier. Phoenix is an excellent single target healer. He can heal one target more than all the healing of Lily and Sight combined. S tier. Erebus is a beautiful display of AoE offensive dominance. His only downside being a bit fragile. S tier. Ares has one of the highest base attacks that's paired with a solely AoE based kit, the flip side being a weak single target game. A tier. Agni has one of the highest achievable multipliers at nearly 4000% on one ability. He's nutty on a red mage team. S tier but double S tier on a Cornelian team. Hephaestus is the next PvP elite I was talking about earlier. He's invincible on death and returns his enemy's damage back at them. Double S tier. Heimdall takes a large portion of his base HP and adds it to every attack he does. Needless to say, the better the HP build, the more deadly he becomes. A tier. Searcher bashes away at foes like Mike Tyson. He's boosted by fellow attackers in his backline, making for an interesting team synergy. A tier. Amaterasu is the next step up after Albing and fits right in with the Red Mage Caster Dragon theme. A tier. Fornax is the missing link that all these mage dragons needed. His introduction to the game single-handedly buffed all mage dragons. Double S tier. Astreus unleashes beams of energy that pierce through the screen with unlimited range. He then rains Starfall all over the field. S tier. Helios is ideal for pairing with a strong team of melee dragons. His attack buffs only complement the field he places, giving immense survival buffs. A tier. Utu is the last of the PvP elite dragons. Pairing him with Hephaestus and Argus is a joke. He never dies and locks down the target with ease. A tier but double S tier in the PvP elite team. Ymir is really stepping up his game with recent updates giving him more potential. Enlightening Ymir is a definite path to success. Double S tier. Pangu recovers HP constantly. His abilities manhandle the enemy with CC and even generate additional rage so he can spam his dastardly lockdowns. Double S tier. Kali has one of the most OP survival gimmicks these idle games has to offer. A full death ignore with devastating effects, buffing every warrior and rogue dragon on your team with a massive rage point boost. Double S tier. Argus takes the auto attack feature and pushes it to its outer limits. His basic attacks spray orbs at multiple targets and sprinkled in are added effects included. Double S tier. Brigid sports the obligatory overpowered AoE taunt. It's a common theme in nearly all games that forcing your opposition into a useless state of auto-attacking your beefiest tank is very effective. Triple S tier. And that's gonna do it for the new and updated Summon Dragons 2 tier list. Big thanks to everyone that helped me learn more about the dragons I didn't know much about, and don't forget that if you had a different rating for a dragon, make sure to let me know in a comment. Thanks for watching. If you left a like on this video, feel free to subscribe, but other than that, y'all, that's gonna do it for me today, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.